Hello, welcome to our interactive workshop today. I am Conrad Leyva, VP of Ecosystem and Workforce Education at SESME. And with me today, our partners Jim Wetzel and Doug Kaywood from the NextGen Group will be facilitating this workshop. Between all of us, we have many decades of manufacturing systems and smart manufacturing implementation experience. And we're here today to help you either get started on your smart manufacturing journey or reassess the journey that you might have started already. Jim and Doug, can you please briefly introduce yourselves?
Sure. Thank you, Conrad. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jim Wetzel, co-founder with Doug of NextGen Group, an organization is to help people on their smart manufacturing journey. Prior to this role, I was actually the leader of SESME in its formative stages. And then prior to that, I was director of engineering at General Mills. Over to you, Doug.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. At NextGen, we're really focused on trying to help manufacturers move, and accelerate their path to actually putting into production many of these smart manufacturing solutions and capabilities. My background prior to starting this with Jim is I worked for 15 years for Hewlett-Packard in their manufacturing industry group, and then 15 years for Microsoft, the last several of which I was the global consumer goods industry director. Back to you, Conrad.
Thank you. So let me briefly let you know why we're here and why is SESME working on this and what we're hoping you will get out of this exercise. SESME, the U.S. Smart Manufacturing Institute, has a mission to improve productivity in the manufacturing ecosystem. Well, actually, before we get started, Jim, did we tell people how to get on?
No, you skipped ahead, Conrad. So gang, here's the deal. This is going to be a totally live, totally interactive session, as you can see. And we are going to actually perform a smart manufacturing self-assessment during this 90-minute session. And what we're going to do is you're going to see my screen, and we're going to use either your web browser or your personal cell phone as the voting mechanism. And so what you need to do is log on to live.voxvote.com, either with your PC through a web browser or through your smartphone, and enter the PIN 276623. The voting during this session, it will be anonymous. You can certainly type in at the top. You can put your screen name or nickname if you want, but you don't need to do that. And what we'll be doing is asking you questions, and your cell phone or your PC will be the vehicle for you to answer the questions in. And what I'll be doing is sharing the results live. So I don't know exactly how many participants we have online right now, but we will see the population as they vote. We won't know who you are, but we will show you what the results of and how far this audience is on their smart manufacturing journey. So again, it's live.voxvote.com, and the PIN number is 276623. Okay, Conrad, back to you.
Okay. All right. So you see, we're live and ready for action here. So back to my general pitch for this. SESME, the U.S. Smart Manufacturing Institute, has a mission to improve productivity in the manufacturing ecosystem in the United States. This assessment tool we're using today is part of a set of tools that we're developing to help manufacturers align their business strategy, look at their technology-enabled practices and innovation roadmap in order to achieve higher levels of productivity. We have designed the process to start with a self-assessment because we want to help manufacturers get started without the need for a big, expensive consulting engagement. We're hoping that at a minimum, you will come out with a better understanding of how you feel about your business practices, but also hoping you come out with some ideas for improvements and a bigger motivation to explore the potential for smart manufacturing in your company. Let's move to the next slide, Jim. There are several terms out there, including Industry 4.0, digital manufacturing, the industrial Internet of Things, and some people use them interchangeably, and that is okay today because we do not need to learn new terminology for you to do this assessment today. However, we do want you to have a better understanding of that smart manufacturing is not just about technology, that is about business strategy and how technology can enable you to run a better business. So to provide clarity, we will give you a broad definition of smart manufacturing. You can move to the next if you want. Smart manufacturing is the information-driven, event-driven, and collaborative orchestration of business, physical, and digital processes within plants, factories, and across the entire value chain. Meaning that we want information-based decision-making that is triggered as soon as changes or issues are detected and not hours or days later. That we want to maintain systems in real-time synchronization with what is happening physically in the plant. And that we want to trigger actions when issues are detected that bring the respective teams together to collaborate on solutions, including the external value chain. Why is this important to you? Because smart manufacturing is quickly becoming a competitive differentiator and a requirement to new ecosystem of partners that need to be ready to participate in a highly connected value chain. So this assessment will help evaluate if smart manufacturing is an immediate need for your company. Next slide. Smart manufacturing is about increasing productivity for U.S. manufacturers, improving cost, reliability, quality, and resource productivity. But it is also about transformative change. Change in processes that lead to higher levels of speed, agility, and resiliency, enabling more innovation on your process, but also on your products and services, and making you a better partner for smart manufacturing value chain, where you might be making products as a tier 2 or tier 3 supplier to the brand owner. And you need to be ready to handle much higher levels of integration and data exchanges in those supply chains. At SESME, we are democratizing access to these smart manufacturing strategies through resources and tools like this one. So, Jim, please get us started today with the assessment process.
Absolutely. Thank you, Conrad. So, SESME engaged with the Next Gen group to try to help them figure out what tools can we provide its members to actually accelerate this journey. And I want to talk briefly about this framework, and then we'll go into actually the assessment process. And so working with SESME, we came up with this framework and process to follow. And you're going to hear much more, not only today, but in the future, about the supporting tools for you members to use during this journey. The very first step in the process is to assess the current state, the competitive and market readiness, your people, your process, your technology, to assess the opportunities that are the low-hanging fruit and the stuff that is just ripe for smart manufacturing, for you to get quick wins and for you to begin your journey on a successful manner. I think you heard I think it was the kickoff speech of John Dyke talking about the amount of failures that are going in digital transformation and that a lot of projects are not successful. One of the keys in making a successful project is to understand what business goal and what objective you actually have. And so we'll talk about that today as we go through this assess phase. The next thing after assess, which will come later, is to talk about explore and explore what is possible and seek demonstrations. You heard already around the smart manufacturing innovation centers and the capabilities that those have. We want to encourage people to see see the art of the possible, so that we can come back to this assessment that you're taking today and re-ask it as to not so much the current state, but ask about the future state. What is possible? How can those challenges be looked at differently? How can you reimagine the work that you're doing in your factory and the drivers and the value proposition that might be possible? Once we go through that step, it kicks off into a very specific roadmap exercise, where we're actually going to work with you to define the milestones, the shell and the framework of the actual projects and plan, and set them up so that you know why you're doing project 1 and how that fits into project 2 and so on, and really create that portfolio of work that's going to accelerate your journey down the path. Step 4 is do the work. It's to execute those projects built on the foundation, which you've heard about already, and there's been training on around the SMIP, Smart Manufacturing Innovation Platform, as well as the third-party solutions that go along with it. And how do you sustain that in your factory so that you're not just getting the initial gain, but you're able to maintain that gain? And the last step in the process is to validate. Is to do the look back, is to understand, did I in fact achieve the business value? How would I do things differently? And then the arrow going back is really to represent and then repeat and do this often. So that's kind of the core of the acceleration framework that we developed. And what we're going to spend the rest of the time on is really the assess portion of this. And on the assess side, one of the things that ultimately all the questions that we're going to be asking today, and there's about 25 of them, is to figure out where this places you in what Sesame is calling their state transition matrix. And it's a 6x5 matrix. And if you go down the left-hand side, it's really going to evaluate these critical smart manufacturing areas around your strategy and your leadership, your manufacturing excellence and culture. Are you a data-driven? Do you have and are you a data-driven process and culture? A little bit into the systems infrastructure and integration. So that's your technology piece, your people optimization, and your supply chain resiliency and agility. And the other axis is around, are you reactive, aware, collaborative, advanced, or responsive? And ultimately, the use of this matrix and the use of these questions will ultimately get us into solidifying your current state. That's what, in this particular slide, that's what shows up in the orange X's. And then when we re-ask these questions in the future state, now you'll see the delta between where you are and where you think you need to go, so that we can go down the next steps of explore and roadmap to make sure that those projects are the right projects to achieve that goal. So that's kind of a very high level of that. Now, we're not asking you to place your X in a square. We're asking you 5 or 6 questions in each one of these areas, or I should say 3 to 5 questions in each one of these areas that will shape that X to be placed into a box. So we're not going to directly ask you on manufacturing strategy and leadership, place your X in this box. We will ask you questions about that will inform us as to where that X should be placed. The scope of this assessment, like we said, is really across all of these areas around strategy, culture, your processes, your systems, the workforce, and supply chain, so that we can get a holistic look of this. So we are not going to ask you a question around tell us your PLC count or tell us the number of tags you have. This is at a higher level analysis. I'm going to turn the questions over to Doug Haywood as he starts the beginning of this process and gives you a little insight into how we're going to start this, basic information about your organization. Doug, over to you.
All right, thanks, Jim and Conrad. All right, is everybody excited and ready to get rolling? So first, we're going to start off by just collecting a little bit of information about your company and who you are. All of this all this information is absolutely confidential. Will not be shared with anybody. It's just allow us to be able to communicate back with you with the information that we'll collect, as well as to be able to sort of analyze the size of your business, the type of your business, against the types of feedback that we get. So in this section, if you could just look through the potential answers that you have as you're voting, and I'll read the questions and then just select those, and we'll kind of move through these fairly quickly. So the first one is, which of the following products and or services does your organization provide? So if you look down through that list, in terms of academia, consulting, government, product distributor, product manufacturer, service provider, service integrator, or software vendor. You could just select one of those. That would be great. Give that a second here. And as you can see, you'll see kind of the live results for the audience of people that have taken this. So far, it looks like we have 7 people that have voted. And of those people, we have 57% that are product manufacturers. So we'll give this a little bit of time to allow all of you to have a chance to place your vote. And if you have any questions about the voting mechanism and how it works, that sort of thing, please feel free to just post that into the chat, and hopefully we'll be able to see that and provide an answer. All right, we have 11 users that have voted so far. Give us just another 10 or 15, 10 seconds or so here, give people a chance. Hopefully this mechanism works well for everybody. All right, we're up to 14. I don't know what the total count was of people that we had that were logged in before we started. I know there was over 20. Some of you may feel that you may not either want to take the assessment, which is completely fine, or don't feel that there's a need to. But and all information that will come out of this will be delivered back to you. So it's really just gives you kind of a good, clean picture from your perspective of your company. And someone was trying to speak. I think that was Jim.
Yeah, and feel free to jump in at any time. So if you originally were looking at this and did not think you're going to answer the questions, and then later want to, at the bottom of each slide is in fact the livevoxvote.com with the PIN number. So you can join us any time during this session.
All right, Jim, should we go on to the next one?
Okay.
All right, pretty straightforward questions here. We'll have about 6 or 8 of these questions. So what industries does your company serve or operate in? And you can select all of those that apply to your company. We know that many of you do participate in multiple industries or verticals, so feel free to select multiples of those. I won't try to read through all those for you, and we'll just look here to see what types of results we get. All right.
They're just starting to come in.
Oh, we got one aerospace and defense company. That's great. Oh, no, they're coming. All right. Apparel, automotive, metals and mining.
All right. That's a good mix there.
Yeah, great mix.
There we go.
Very good. We've got 10 people so far. I know we looked like we'd had 15 on the previous, so hopefully we'll see at least 15 people vote here. Wow, this is a really fantastic mix across a lot of the different verticals and industries. Give this about another 10 seconds or so, and then we move on to the next question. And I can't remember, Jim, if somebody needs to come back, can they go back if they if they didn't cast their vote or they wanted to change it, or once they voted or moved to the next screen, or they
they can go back and change as long as I keep the questions open. So
okay, sounds good. All right, we'll do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and maybe move on to the next question. All right, how many facilities or plants does your organization operate? And if you don't know the exact number, I think just a good estimate based on what you know would be perfectly fine. It's just to get a rough ballpark of the size of your organization. All right. Hopefully
yeah,
we'll
there's a
start
little
getting some-
delay. Yeah, there's just a
Here
little
we go.
delay in.
Yeah. All right. Good. Got a good mix here. So about half the of you that are taking this are from medium to large companies. About half are either somewhat smaller or maybe not manufacturers, which is perfectly fine. All right, we'll give this another couple seconds, about 5 seconds. So, oops, there we go. All right, how many people are employed by your organization? And pretty straightforward. Give this about 15 seconds, and then we'll move on to the next. Guess it'll look somewhat similar to the last chart.
And the questions will get a lot more exciting in a few minutes.
Yeah, that's right. Right. Yeah. Right. We will. Good comment. All right. Well, these should start showing up here pretty quick. They follow the same pattern as the last couple, and then we can move on. Just kind of nice to see, for everybody to see kind of here, and you'll get all these results after the fact. So you'll see a summary of the total tally for the whole audience here in a report when we're all done here. I think, Conrad, are you planning on posting this, or are we going to send it out to people?
We will share the results to the attendees. Yeah, it's important. At the end, we'll have a question for your email.
Yep. All right, I'd say let's go ahead and move on to the next one here. So we've got some large companies. In what region is your company headquartered? Again, pretty straightforward. And I would assume most of them will be North America, likely. Oh, good. Oh, Europe. Very good. So we give this another 5 or 6 seconds. We may not see all the results, but it's probably better to not, spend too much time waiting on them to show up. So we got a lot here. So we could probably move on to the next one whenever you're ready, Jim.
Yeah, I'm hearing that there's some delays on phones. Maybe it's a little faster on your computer if you want to do it there. Okay. Should work either way.
All right, so now we're actually into the assessment itself. So the first section, and you can see our pinwheel here sort of identifies where we're at in the various areas that we're going to be assessing. So the first one really is under management strategy and leadership. And really the purpose of this section is really to identify just the overall strength of the management team in the company. And is the typical style of management kind of more strategic or more tactical in its execution. Kind of have a sort of a general sense of the leadership skills in the company. And, a big part of this is just what the overall knowledge of the management team is of smart manufacturing and digital transformation. So if we want to move to the first question, All right, if you could characterize the maturity of the business model and management practices of your company, that would be great. So is your company a startup? Are you young but a growing company in a growing market? Is your company a mature company with a stable market and product line? Or is your company mature and it's introducing new products and or pursuing new markets? So it is a mature company, but it's aggressively going after new areas, both with the products and the markets. Very good. Give this another 5 seconds or so here. Nice mix. Great to see all the startup companies in here. All right, probably can move on to the next one, I would guess, Jim. All right, how would you characterize your leader's business strategy? So they're focused predominantly on executing and really don't anticipate threats or opportunities across the business or the industry. They identify short-term threats and put plans in place to compete. Sorry about that. The third one is you identify industry trends and put plans in place to allow your company to win. The fourth answer would be you identify long-term strategic threats and have plans to thrive. So that's really kind of becoming more of a strategic view of the marketplace and your competitors and the kind of planning that you do. And then the last is that you identify transformational opportunities. It's really opportunities for your company to transform and help maybe even to transform the industry and lead that transformation. And as a result, your company puts together implementation plans to leapfrog the rest of the industry by doing so. That's great.
Looks like we got a lot of leapfroggers in here.
Yeah, that's very good. Awesome.
Yeah, fantastic. A lot of innovators here.
Yep, very good. And it's great to see the mix here because then a lot of opportunity for for best practice sharing and learning across the organization, which is one of the big things that SESB is all about. All right, if you want to move on to the next one here. All right, if you could describe the level of vision your leadership has regarding digitization and manufacturing. So, overall, you don't believe that there's an understanding of benefits that could be realized with more digital, within the manufacturing process. You feel that there's a basic understanding of the benefits of leveraging more digital within manufacturing. I feel that there's a solid vision and understanding of the benefits of being digitally oriented. The next answer would be, that you have a plan to really upskill your people and your processes and your technology, which would imply that there is a reasonably strong understanding of digital and how it would affect the company, and there's plans in place to really upskill. And the last is there's a multi-year strategic plan to empower and optimize people, processes, and technology. So really having a sort of a well thought out long range roadmap and plan across the organization to leverage and upskill each of these different areas. Very good mix. There we go. I was kind of surprised we didn't see anybody indicate that there was a plan to upskill people. So I think this looks like I would have kind of a mix I would have expected probably. Give another
There's a question
5 or
around,
10 seconds here.
A question around, there's a lot of variability within our company. Should we pick the highest level or the lowest level?
That's a very, I guess um,
I think
I
to
don't
get
know.
the
What do you guys,
most
what do you think, Brad and Jim? I would
to get
say,
the here I'll try to answer that. To get the most benefit of this exercise today, I think just pick one of your divisions and stick throughout with that. That way you're kind of putting the hat for that division on or something like that.
yeah, I think that's a good idea. And if there is, even within that, if there's a wide range, then maybe you just pick the average, roughly the average, because that would give you kind of an indication of where the overall organization is potentially. So, all
But
right.
here's the power. But here's the power of some of that stuff as well is that you'll be able to go back to SESME and retake this, and you could do it specifically for the low division. You could do it specifically for the high division. You could then get the chart printed out, and you could see the disparity between divisions and use that as an influence and a talking piece as you figure out your roadmap.
Right. As well as having multiple people across your organization take this same assessment and be able to kind of then get sort of a consolidated view of some of that. So, all right. Next question. What focus does your company have on digital transformation? So first is you just focus on the daily, weekly, monthly execution plans. So really not, not a long-term focus. It's just what needs to be done, right now, basically. The next is, how you suggest, how can be suggested to solve recurring daily issues to execute faster with higher quality. Next would be that you encourage, there's encouragement to consider how to transform the work, but a lot of times really don't have time to do so. The next is that it's mandated that you must transform your manufacturing and or supply chain. So that's really coming from the leadership, but there's really not any specific plans on how to do so. And then the last is transformation is mandated. You do have a business strategy with metrics and a reward system to ensure success within the organization. All right. Good cross section on this one as well.
Yeah, so a large portion of this audience is they're going after literally transformation.
Right.
Or they're just starting to figure out how they can get started and solve immediate issues.
All right, give this just a couple seconds, move on to the next. All right, and so now this one is smart manufacturing seen as an opportunity within your company. So there really has not been any investigation of smart manufacturing, to speak of across the organization. That's the first one. There is a basic awareness of smart manufacturing, but intentions really are not identified by the management as to what they may or may not want to do relative to that. Intentions towards smart manufacturing are identified in the company's future plans, so they have an understanding of it, and they've actually put some of that within the plans of the organization. Smart manufacturing strategy and governance models are in place. And external partners are included in those plans, which is sort of a key addition to these set of answers here. So you now start to include all your partners in your ecosystem. And the last is really kind of leaning on that transformational idea that there are not just things and solutions and things are being put in place, but really looking at what can be, what types of things can be put in place. They're going to drive transformation within the organization. So transformational initiatives are in flight with clear milestones.
And keep in mind that smart manufacturing definition we used, I mean, if you call it something a little different, but it still falls into that umbrella of what we were calling smart manufacturing there. Please answer it that way.
That was great. Very, very balanced across. All right, Jim, you drove a lot of manufacturing excellence in your previous life. Maybe this would be a great spot for you to jump in.
Sure, can do. So this is all about the manufacturing excellence, operation excellence, the culture that your plant has. You know, you think about continuous improvement, and you think about all of these processes and methodologies that people are using today to ensure that they have the discipline and the approach to be world class. And so this is not about necessarily the technology. This is really more about the culture that is being driven in your location and the methodologies that you might be using. So the first question in this space is, are your manufacturing processes standardized and documented? So the choices are, there are little to no documented processes within our manufacturing operations. They are loosely defined processes for each manufacturing operation. There are standardized and documented processes for each manufacturing operation. We have consistent, standardized, and documented processes for how each manufacturing operation interacts with each other. Now I'm going across operations. And the last one is, we are constantly optimizing our processes and redeploying best practices essentially across the company as they're learned. So a lot of standardization going on, and a few folks doing block deployment. Okay, we'll give a few minutes here. But it looks like there's a lot of opportunity into on the high side of that. It almost looks, if you turn your head sideways, it's pretty much a normal curve, averaged on standardized. Okay, the next question. And we're able to pick up the pace now a little bit because people are getting good at voting, so thank you for that. And folks that want to vote, I'll just re-encourage you, live.voxvote.com with the PIN number at the bottom, and you can join in the fun. Do you have a formalized continuous improvement methodology? And so the question, you know, a lot of people have different answers there. We'll see how this goes. You have no methodology to improve is answer one. You have a vision for improving manufacturing operations, but not formalized. You have a well-communicated and consistent practices for continuous improvement, Lean, Kaizens, Six Sigma, data-driven improvements, etc. Manufacturing excellent practices are part of our culture. Complex data is used to share these best practices. And the last one is continuously improve all aspects enabled by near real-time data, and we regularly benchmark internally and externally. So pretty much a spread on this question. Obviously, it's similar to the last question around, you know, what your culture is. Here's around methodologies. People are, it's really not really saying it's not too many people are ad hoc. Most people are following some sort of a disciplined process. I'm sure everyone calls it something else, and we'll move on. Do you leverage data from systems for your Lean, Six Sigma, continuous improvement effort, and really for any of your continuous improvement effort? We just put Lean Six Sigma, so you'd prompt you. Excuse me. Do you leverage data for continuous improvement? Item number one, we do not view technology implementation as part of our Lean manufacturing practices. You know, you might be doing things in that case with pencil and paper. We use data in control and problem-solving techniques and risk assessment. So we're using data pretty much as problem-solving. We use data to help identify waste, optimize value streams, and improvements. So now now it's no longer problem-solving. Now it's around opportunity management. Fourth one, we implement pull techniques, synchronized production lines, leveraging real-time data. So real-time data now is part of your DNA. You're using it to understand how you're doing in real time. And then the last one is our Lean Six Sigma and our our continuous improvement. And our smart manufacturing projects are managed and prioritized. So a lot of people really relying on data to identify value streams and improvements. And for problem solving is what you pretty much what you'd expect. Okay, the next category is around data driven. So we just had the question of, are you using data in your culture, and is it starting to become part of your DNA? But data also needs to be trusted. It needs to be driven into KPIs of whatever kind your organization might have or not have. And you start thinking about your smart manufacturing journey, typically will start with visibility and transparency of essentially, in a slang version, is really how you doing. And this is a set of questions to really say how far and has your organization embraced the need for trusted data, and what kind of metrics might you have. So the first question in this section is, are you meeting your manufacturing targets or metrics, whether it's cost, quality, schedule, delivery, etc., right? Everyone's got their set of metrics. First answer, we continuously struggle to meet production or internal targets. Second answer, we are inconsistent in meeting our targets. So today I meet it, tomorrow I don't. Third answer, we consistently meet our production targets, but we underperform against the external benchmark. So we're meeting what we say, but there's more on the table that could be dealt with. Number four, answer four, consistently exceed your production targets. You're at parity with benchmarks. They're updated daily or in near real time, and they're also linked to corrective action. So when there are gaps, you're starting to say, what should I do about it? And the fifth answer is your metrics are visible and displayed and available in real time, and they outperform your competition when you look at how you're doing. So we're seeing some spread. Give people time to vote. Sorry,
and this is all a reminder that this is all anonymous. So did you get more value of this by answering honestly a lot of these questions? It's really a introspective kind of view of your operations.
It's always interesting. You've heard the joke about this, right? I'm always above average. That's above average is winning here, 57% right now. Everyone's above average. Oh, it's coming down. Average is coming down. Okay, I will move on. Characterize your level of manufacturing data collection. So again, we're in the data-driven process area, and so the answer is we don't collect data, and or it's not easily available. So pencil and paper. We inconsistently collect manual and automated data, but it's not trusted. We collect data on many aspects of manufacturing and our metrics, but our metrics are not standardized. Number four, we have data is collected on standardized systems and is required to support operations, and the metrics are standardized. And the last, data collection is automated across the enterprise and rolls up to dashboards, and we are very good at updating status. So a lot of data is being collected, but the metrics need some work. And a little bit evenly split. I believe this is the last question on data. Characterize your system's ability to understand the variability and ability to predict disruptions and their causes. So, answer 1, our systems identify deviations from predefined parameters using automated data collection. Our systems identify deviations and alert on unusual patterns and bad trends. Systems can identify deviations and diagnose potential causes. So you move from reporting on it to figuring out root cause. System flag potential problems before they happen based on analytical predictions and provide possible causes. Or systems autonomously execute prescribe actions and allowing humans to intervene. So you got your gradient from just kind of raw data, but very little analytics on top of it to really understand what that data is telling you. And that's kind of what you'd expect is we're in this process. Most people are in the process of being very data hungry, and understanding what that data is still an opportunity. And that looks like the direction this is. Oh, there we got some people doing patterns. Okay, we'll move on. Oh, I lied to you. This is the last question. Characterize your organization's use of manufacturing data and analytical capabilities. We do not use manufacturing data to communicate across departments and drive improvements. We inconsistently review data. Process improvement initiatives are reactive. They're not data-driven. Number 3, we review data and metrics in our synchronization amongst departments and continuous improvement initiatives. We use trusted data and advanced analytical methods to predict areas for improvement. And data is critical and used extensively to drive near real-time prescriptive improvements. So by and large, a lot of this is reactive, but probably providing a lot of value in solving very short-term problems. Systems infrastructure and integration. In this space, this is the one area that we're really trying to understand a little bit at a high level around your technology and your ability to have systems not as silos, but integrated as you think about the Smart Manufacturing Innovation Platform and its ability to put context to this data and to integrate different data models that are there. You heard a lot this week and last week about what others are doing and what software is available to do this. This is really starting to go after that. So first question, how extensively have you automated your manufacturing processes? Repetitive production processes are not automated. So you're pretty much a manual organization. Repetitive production processes are partially automated. You have control systems in, they might be unit op based, and you're not yet starting to connect them up from a system thinking perspective. Repetitive production processes are automated with human supervision. Number 4, processes are fully automated with limited human intervention. Excuse me, and processes, repetitive or not, are highly automated with AI-driven engagement for routine decisions and human intervention. So you're seeing a lot of results in the fully automated, and AI maybe not coming to the table quite yet. So this would be typical for, advanced control and information type systems. Yep, there we go. Equally split, 2 each. Okay. How extensive is your implementation of software systems to support manufacturing? Again, we allow for the folks that are really don't have any systems in place, but my organization has little to no software systems to support manufacturing operations. Answer 2, my organization has started implemented software systems in key manufacturing areas. Number 3, we use standardized software to support manufacturing. Number 4, our OT, operational technology, and IT, information technology, standardized systems are secure and integrated. They share data across their functionalities. And answer 5, our systems make predictive and prescriptive adjustments with data from multiple sources to optimize manufacturing metrics. Kind of bimodal. Okay, pretty advanced. Are your manufacturing assets connected through open APIs? So what kind of protocol are they using? Open protocols to be able to connect between systems and between assets and equipment. Answer 1, few production assets can connect to operational systems, PLCs or SCADA, and exchange information. So very few can exchange information. Production assets are connected to OT systems via custom integration and proprietary protocols. Answer 3, OT and I systems are connected via secured, customized integration. Number 4, excuse me, systems are mostly integrated and use open APIs that work across different equipment. And number 5, systems are interoperable, scalable, secure, and easily be configured to accommodate new equipment and production processes. The holy grail, the dream of SESME, would be answer 5. The dream of everyone trying to do smart manufacturing is number 5. Okay, so we've got a lot of variability. Doug, do you want to take this one? If you're there.
Yeah, I can do this one here. So workforce optimization. So it's really, around workforce optimization, we're really, the set of questions we have here are really focused on the personnel in your organization that perform the production and those supporting job function for production. And really looking to see if this workforce is augmented and assisted with technology and empowered to make data-driven decisions to optimize performance, in the operations and in the company. So if I'm going to go to the first question. What is your approach to skill and training of manufacturing workers? So we just don't require much technical skill or experience. The company does not provide training. The first one. We depend on the job training and mentoring to train our workforce. We prefer to hire skilled workers, would be the third answer. We have training courses for specialized skills that require skill certification. And lastly, we leverage technology, including knowledge base and/or augmented virtual reality technology. So augmented reality and virtual reality technology, potentially being included, but really just kind of, are you really leveraging advanced technologies? Are you really providing a knowledge base and training? Really just, very aggressive with what you're doing with your workforce is really kind of the gist of that last answer. Yeah, it looks like a pretty fairly even distribution across all of this. Let's see if we got one more at the end there. We'd have that same 222. All right, are employees empowered to improve manufacturing performance? So leadership is not interested in employee input on solving problems. They really just want them to do, to do what they're supposed to do in their roles during the course of the day, and not looking at particularly, being focused on solving problems that occur. Workers are expected to help identify and implement approved suggestions for improvement. Workers are expected to solve fundamental issues leveraging collected production data. So basically using data to solve fundamental issues. Managers have resources to solve problems and implement changes. Workers have very strong problem-solving skills. So managers have been really basically empowered with data and tools, and your workers, have some strong problem-solving skills as well. And really, the last is all workers and managers are empowered with resources and reward, and this is a key thing, and reward systems to transform the work that you do. Fairly, usually a lot there in that's your bell curve, Jim. All right, on to the next one. Our employees augmented with technology to improve their work performance. So we do not use technology to help our people to be more productive. So really, they have they do their job in their area of manufacturing, and they're not really provided with specific technology tools, whether it's data or other things, to really improve their what they do within their job. So that's number one. First, the second is we just started bringing human-driven technologies to help our people be more productive. So there's been a beginning, start to doing this. Workers get guidance through digital work instructions and tools that alert potential quality issues. Next is productivity enhancing technologies are used extensively. We are piloting virtual and augmented reality. And last is we have a human-centric model and have deployed technology to support employees with remote assistance when needed. We're almost to the 222 thing again.
There we go. We got 222.
Yeah. And we got a nice. Oh, look at that. Oh. There we go.
Perfect tiebreaker.
Yeah. All right. Next. All right. Supply chain resiliency and agility. So this is really about the ability to handle any disruptions across the entire supply chain, whether it comes from your end customers, your suppliers, distributors, or whatever it may be. And the ability to quickly respond to sudden changes in demand, sudden changes in customer requirements. Can you handle quick changeovers successfully within the organization? Really anything necessary to really be a resilient, agile, and responsive manufacturer. So our first question. What role does your company have in supply chains? And you can select all the ones that apply to you, not just one of these. So my company is a brand owner that sells a product to the consumer directly or through a distributor. My company is a supplier of a product, part or material that is used by the customer in the building of another product or part. So basically, you guys supply to others that then use that to build, their end products. My company is a contract manufacturer providing outsourced production processes to manufacturers to manufacture of a product. So you basically are an outsourced manufacturer for various manufacturing as a custom manufacturer. My company provides a maintenance service in relation to a product being used by the consumer.
Couple people up there straggling there. We got 8, 9.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. All right. If you could characterize how your supply chain partners, this is about how your partners view your performance and your relationship. First is we don't have documented metrics and information sharing practices with our suppliers, partners, and customers. So there's no documented practices or active sharing of practices and data across suppliers, partners, and customers. We are inconsistent in how you share data with customers and partners, and you regularly have issues meeting supply chain metrics. We have established metrics with suppliers, partners, and customers, and our partners believe that you have average performance. So basically, you do a good job. You're doing all the things you're supposed to do. And the last is we have documented metrics and data exchange practices for the supply chain, and you consistently meet or exceed those performance measures. So you're really viewed by all of your partners as an absolute leader, in this particular space. And I think these are probably pretty typical. Yeah.
I believe this is the last question in this section, Doug.
Okay, and then I'll let you wrap it up with the last section that we have here. So what is the level of data exchange and integration across the supply chain? So personal relationships, phone calls, and emails for most communications and issue resolution in the supply chain. So it's really much more of a manual, personal process. Second is we do not have integrated ERP, supply chain production management software. So this is implying that you have software, but it's really not, highly integrated across, your organization or the overall supply chain. So, very siloed. We have integrated ERP, supply chain, and production software. Communication with partners is via supplier portals. The fourth is we share real-time information with supply chain partners. And last is we are fully integrated with our supply chain partners. We anticipate demand changes and prescribe adjustments. So that really is, sort of a nirvana for a demand-driven supply chain. And it looks like at least one of you out there is on the path or is doing that, which is fantastic.
And many just pick up the phone.
And a lot do just pick up the phone. Yeah. And there's a lot of, we have integrated systems, but a lot of also siloed systems, and a lot of work to kind of share information necessarily across different groups and teams.
I lied again. One more.
Yeah,
I know.
Man.
Sorry.
All right. Describe how you handle sharp changes and disruptions in your supply chain. So we have minimal technology to help resolve supply chain issues. Supply chain information we receive is old. We use spreadsheets and ad hoc software. Supply chain information is timely, and we share critical data with supply chain partners and have collaboration tools and processes in place to mitigate risk. We are connected with partners and identify disruptions in supply chain as well as identify solutions. So fairly advanced there. And then we have a fully trusted end-to-end supply chain network that can sense demand changes and help us instantly adjust. Again, very, very, very advanced in that last one. I would have expected number 2 to be kind of a pretty common across.
Yeah, the preferred software of choice, Excel, Microsoft Excel.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I'm an ex-Microsoft guy. What's wrong with that? So.
Yeah, that's right. There we go.
All right, this is good. Well, Jim, do you want to wrap it up in the last section here, and the wrap up for this assessment?
I will. And so what we're talking now about is the smart manufacturing capabilities. And so you heard a lot over the last two calendar weeks of stuff that SESME is working on and stuff that software providers are also working on. And, kind of here's a high level list of these things around, are you trying to put technology in the hands of people? Are you working on equipment and systems? Are you working on real-time data collection? Are you working on semi-autonomous process automation and so on? So the next question is really going to take a look at these areas and say, so follow the money. What are people doing? What are people putting their money down on? And so as you think about what am I putting money in? So the question is, what are your plans to invest in smart manufacturing capabilities as part of your business strategy? So answer 1, I have no plans to invest now. 2, no plans to invest, but want to further understand smart manufacturing. Number 3, I'm investing in pilot efforts for high value opportunities. I've yet to figure out how to deploy broadly. Number 4, we focus production projects and pilots that align with our roadmap, our strategic roadmap. And number 5, we are making transitional investments in people, process, and technology as part of our culture. It's just what we do. And a half and half so far. No plans to invest. So it's early days. I guess I stopped listening to the internet. This is everybody's doing transformational. I thought I could believe everything I heard on the internet. Okay. Number 46, please select the top 3 focus areas that you're currently investing in. Augmented connected work. These are the categories that you saw on that other sheet. Automated connected worker, equipment and system interoperability, real-time data collection and monitoring, semi-autonomous process optimization, quality control mechanisms, workplace safety, equipment tracking, inventory control mechanisms, supply chain optimization, new business models or product services. If anybody needs, there we go. There, they're coming in. Not a whole lot of investment in people. Yes, people are not our most important asset. Equipment, real-time data. I was hoping I could shame someone into voting on people.
And there's no right or wrong answer here, because it depends a lot on your industry, where you are, where your priorities are. So
Absolutely. So Conrad, I'll go through this and jump in and help me as well, since our mics are both on. As we think about next steps, so that was the survey. You've taken the survey. The next step is to take a look at this survey and to create this matrix out of it that it's shown in the lower left-hand corner, so that you can become a smarter manufacturer and have a digital strategy, really help drive your culture and your data-driven processes, and help your people and workforces and achieve a resilient supply chain. But obviously, taking this as a group isn't going to really hone in on what's important to you, because your recipe of what you need out of smart manufacturing is different, most likely, than somebody else's recipe. And so, yes, we can provide you with the summary of today's results, but probably more importantly is to think about taking this test, this self-assessment again, but now with your hat on it and at your own pace, not in this forum of a workshop. And so the call to action really is at your own pace and with others around you. Retake this assessment, and then follow up and connect with your SESME folks to actually get your company report versus getting just the report out from this workshop. Conrad, you want to say more about this process?
Yeah. So like Jim said, there's a framework here, right? The assessment is the first step. This workshop gives you a flavor for the assessment, because we want to take any fear away from you, really. Hopefully you see that these are pretty straightforward answers that anybody that is familiar with the processes on the shop floor can answer. But like Jim said, becomes a much more interesting exercise when you do it within your company and with your key stakeholders, and you're really doing an introspective view of your organization. Then the whole process of the framework is that we give you those results back, and we are training a network of consultants to help you walk through the rest of this process, to explore the art of the possible, to get you your custom roadmap built. But we're doing it in a way where we're providing this network of consultants a toolkit of templates, of roadmap building blocks that are applicable to different industries, so that we can reduce that engagement, make it more practical, economical, because the whole idea of this for us is to scale smart manufacturing, democratize these practices. So it cannot take an engagement with a top consulting firm. Those tend to be long and expensive. So we're looking to make this more self-serve, more do-it-yourself. But it's always good to have the assistance of a few experts like Jim and Doug here today that have gone through this with manufacturers and are helping them walk that journey. So I encourage you to, we will follow up with your email and give you an invitation to do the self-assessment process yourself again. You will have time to do a little more homework in your organizations, maybe bring some of those stakeholders into the room with you and do it again. And that will be the starting point of the X in the state transition. And then through the exploration exercise, we kind of provide more building blocks, show you kind of things, and talk through your priorities and what you could do, show examples of what other people are doing in your industry. And then hopefully you come up with where do you want to be in these 6 dimensions of smart manufacturing? Where do you want to be in the next couple of years, in the next 5 years? And then help you build that roadmap and help you establish practical milestones on that journey with you. So that's what we're looking for. Jim, you want to add to that?
Well, I want to add that if you want a summary report of the responses of today, in VoxVote, just type in your email so we know who you are, because up to this point, everything's been anonymous. So we don't know who to send this set of reports to. So fill in that, and then we'll have that information to send you back. That is the end of the survey assessment. We've allowed 15 minutes, so we're right on time to do any kind of a Q&A.